worked in the corporate world, you probably have heard of this diabolical exercise. It's an anonymous survey with your bosses, peers, and direct reports. And the idea is to get a panoramic sense of your strengths and weaknesses. I opted for the colonoscopy version of the 360 review, which included my wife, my brother, and 2 of my meditation teachers. In all, 16 people gave hour-long confidential interviews, and I was then handed a 39-page report brimming with blind quotes. I can tell you're looking forward to hearing the results. Say this. But I'm going to wait a second because I should give you a little background on me. I used to be an anchorman. I worked at ABC News for 21 years. It was a very stressful job. In fact, I had a panic attack live on the air in 2004 while delivering some otherwise mundane headlines. The good news is that my nationally televised freakout ultimately led me to meditation, which I'd actually long rejected as ridiculous. I was raised by a pair of atheist scientists. I'm a fidgety, skeptical guy, and that kind of led me to unfairly lump meditation in with aura readings, vision boards, and dolphin heal. But the practice really helped me with my anxiety and depression, so my goal became to make meditation attractive to my fellow skeptics by ditching the New Age cliches and liberally using the F word. To my great surprise, this unorthodox approach turned me into a quasi-self-help guru. And a few years into this trip, I decided that I wanted to get a sense of whether my inner work was having outer results. Was meditation making me a nicer person? And that's why I signed up for the 360. And now I will tell you about the results. The first 13 pages were dedicated to my sterling quality. People talked about how hardworking and intelligent I was. Many also said meditation had made me more caring. But then came 26 pages of beatdown. The first blow was that some reviewers noted that I had a penchant for being rude to junior staffers, which was deeply embarrassing. But it only got worse. I was called emotionally guarded, a diva, and an authoritarian. I don't know why that's funny. Some people even questioned my motives for promoting meditation. It got so bad that at one point my wife, who was reading it with me, got up and went to the bathroom and cried. I think for me the most painful part was realizing that the aspects of my personality that I was most ashamed of and had really tried to hide were in fact on full display for everybody. And those included my 2 most prominent and problematic demons, anger and self-centeredness. Sorry, I better talk about this phone before. Thank you. I thought we were supposed to applaud authoritarians here instead. Bottom line, meditation had helped for sure, but I clearly retained the capacity to be a schmuck. And I'm not alone in this. All kinds of bad behavior have been on the rise. Reckless driving, unruly airline passengers, violent crime, online bullying, workplace incivility, tribal antagonism, even general self-centeredness. At times it really feel like our social fabric is unraveling. So after my 360, I decided to do some work on myself and see if I could also learn some things that by extension might help the species. I pulled every lever at my disposal. I did psychotherapy, communications coaching, bias training, couples counseling, and more. And while I was really grateful to be able to do all this stuff and all of it helped, I was still finding myself too often getting selfish or snitty. So I signed up for a 9-day silent retreat where I would practice a kind of meditation that has been shown to boost your capacity for warmth. It's called loving kindness, which, as you might imagine, sounded to me like Valentine's Day with a gun in my head. But I was aiming to it. I really wanted to be a nicer person. I kept getting tripped up though because the woman who was running the retreat, my teacher, her name is Spring Washington, she kept insisting that if I wanted to be less of a jerk to other people, I needed to start by being less of a jerk to myself, which I thought was the kind of thing you hear from Instagram influencers and spin instructors. So, and she even went so far as to suggest that when I saw my demons emerging in meditation, I should put my hand on my heart and say to myself, "It's okay, sweetie, I'm here for you." Hard pass. Pass a demon. I was not going to do that. But over the ensuing days of non-stop meditation, I did notice that my twin demons were in full effect. My anger had me rehearsing glorious expletive-filled speeches I delivered to my boss about the various promotions I deserved. My self-centeredness had me writing my own 5-star Amazon reviews for my various books, praising my elegant prose and rugged good looks. And in the face of all this roostering and rage, I layered on an avalanche of self-criticism. I told myself a whole story about how I was an incurably self-obsessed, cranky monster who had cloven hooves and a retractable jaw. After about 5 or 6 days of drinking from this fire hose, I mid-meditation, I put my hand on my heart. And while I definitely was not going to call myself sweetie, I did silently say to myself, "It's all good, dude. I know this sucks, but I got you." This was very strange and embarrassing. But in this moment, I had an epiphany. I realized that my demons were actually just ancient, fear-based, neurotic programs, probably injected into me by the culture, by my parents, and they're trying to help me. It was the organism trying to protect itself. And when I stopped fighting them, they calmed down for a few seconds. I didn't have to slay them. I just had to give them a high five. And this counterintuitive extension of warmth was not, I realized, it was not indulgence, it was radical disarmament. Here's the way I think about this. At any given moment, we humans have 2 choices or 2 spirals that are available to us. The first is what my friend Ellen Turley calls the toilet vortex. The reason why this looks childish and ridiculous is that I drew it myself. It's okay, sweetie, you're good at so many other things. I probably shouldn't make fun of the thing I'm going to try to get you to do, but the toilet vortex might start like this. You're picking on yourself because you don't like the way you look in the mirror, you're unhappy with your level of productivity, or you have failed to achieve ketosis, whatever, and then you take that out on other people, and then you are feeling more miserable, and then down you go. The vastly superior alternative is what I call the cheesy upward spiral. This one was run by a professional. As your inner weather gets balmier, because you learn how to high-five your demons, that shows up in your relationships with other people. And because relationships are probably the most important variable when it comes to human flourishing, your inner weather improves even further, and up you go. And that is the whole point here. Self-love, properly understood, not as narcissism, but as having your own back, is not selfish. It makes you better at loving other people. And the flip side of this was on full display in my 360. All the ways in which I was torturing myself showed up in my relationships with other people. And Taken together, my two excellent drawings represent an amateur unified field theory of love. I call it me, a love story. That's a deliberately ridiculous name, but I'm actually pretty serious about using the word love. Granted, it's a confusing term because we use it to apply to everything from our spouses to our children to gluten-free snickerdoodles. But I am comfortable embracing the broadness of the term. I consider love to be anything that falls within the human capacity to care, a capacity wired deeply into us via evolution. It's our ability to care, cooperate, and communicate that has allowed Homo sapiens to thrive. And it is a failure to exercise that muscle. It is a lack of love that I think is at the root of our most pressing problems, from inequality to violence to the climate crisis. Obviously, these are all massive problems that are going to require massive structural change, but at a baseline, they also require us to care about one another. And it is harder to do that when you're stuck in a ceaseless spiral of self-centered self-flagellation. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is there's a geopolitical case for you to get your shit together. And the massively empowering news is that love is not an unalterable factory setting. It is a skill that you can train. It's actually a family of skills. After my 360, I learned a whole bunch of practices for upping my love game, and I'm going to share two with you right now that I think will be very easy to integrate into your life. The first is to put up a practice of loving kindness meditation. I should say that it does not require you to subscribe to some fancy metaphysical program, and it shouldn't take up too much time, maybe a few minutes, a couple times a week to start. The instructions are really simple. Find a reasonably quiet place, assume a comfortable position, close your eyes, and begin by envisioning a really easy person. Maybe a good friend, maybe a pet. And then you repeat in your mind 4 phrases. Maybe happy, maybe safe, maybe healthy, maybe live with ease. After you've generated a little warmth, you do a big switch and move on to yourself. Once again, you conjure the image, you send the phrase. After that, it's on to a mentor, somebody who's helped you in your life, then a neutral person, somebody you might overlook, then a difficult person, probably not hard to find, and then we finish with all beings everywhere. To some of you, this may seem forced and treacly, but it's worth noting that the research shows that this practice has physiological, psychological, and even behavioral benefits. The other practice I would recommend is to start consciously counter-programming against your inner critic. Next time you notice yourself going down the toilet, if nobody's looking, put your hand on your heart and talk to yourself the way you would talk to a good friend. For ambitious people, this may be a little scary. You might fear it's going to erode your head, but research shows that this process of replacing your sadistic inner tyrant with a supporting inner coach who has high standards, but is not a jerk about it, makes you more likely to reach your goal. Now, I will hop to the fact that even though I've never retired from my job as a newsman and am a full-time meditation evangelist, I still go down the toilet on the regular. But I'm much more likely to access the upper spiral these days. In fact, 3 years after my 360, I got another one, because I never learned. And this one was way different. People gushed about how much I had changed as a friend and a mentor and a colleague. They talked about specific me, where I used to be a prosecutor and was now delightful. One person said his ego is shrinking, which I think was a compliment. And another person said he's finding his heart, which the new me let pass. After she finished reading, my wife turned to me and said, "Congratulations, now you're boring." I'm hoping that's a joke because, in my opinion, upping your love game is anything but boring. It's countercultural because it cuts against the never enoughness and always behindness that society seems to want us to feel. It's courageous because it's hard to look at your demons. And it's happiness producing because when you high five your demons, they don't own you as much. And all of that makes you more generous and more available. If that sounds grandiose or touchy-feely to you, let me put it to you another way. The view is so much better when you pull your head out of your ass. Thank you very much. 60 review.
Here is an example of something called a series review. If you ever worked in the corporate world, you probably have a problem with this diabolical exercise. It's an anonymous survey with your bosses, your job tables, and the others to get a preliminary sense of your strength and weaknesses. How cheerful, colorless copy for about 660. Which including my wife, my brother, and 2 people. Because in all 60 people gave me a long calculation interviews. Brimming with blind quotes.
I can tell you're looking forward to hearing the results. Say this. But I'm going to wait a second
Because
because
I should give you a little background on me. I was friend and I worked at music for 21 years. It was a very stressful job. In fact, I had to pilot the light on PA in 2004 while delivering some otherwise mundane headlines. The good news is that my initial availability me to education, which I had into a long-winded and ridiculous. I was raised by a pair of atheistic scientists, and my physics skeptical guy, and the kind of led me on fairly long meditation with aura reading vision boards, European theory. On fairly long. A few years ago, I found something called serial review. If you're working in a corporate or you have these, they all got anxiety. And unnecessarily, you see piercing reports, and you see that paradigm and restrict illnesses. They also cause the for example, serial review. We think about environmental teachers. The only people all content issues and also have the benefited for human particles. And the other review notes. That's it. For a minute, because we do a bit wrong. If you don't know, the news for years, he was a very If I had picked that love me or what yours to one in the headlines. Do you think I need them to provide about the intuition? We have too long to the because. I was fighting 80 seconds. I have this I had when very bad being born, reads for more insurance. Practically help me who maintain interest in what we can do without expecting you to make shit or using the effort. We are the other sports teacher, you know, that's how now you're teaching I make it make a world with you know, teaching me a nice person. And I have for the university. Now they're project. Guess this off. I don't guess this off. But you may know about our project. First time he's working concerning police. So people are hard working and helping. You're in the hearing here. Actually, these pages will be the first of all, we're not happy for you to just keep emerging. But in the words, I'm going to keep up health. I know it's funny. Some people should remove formulation. I saw that my wife was dealing with you must back that they want to moving up on the 25. And if we want to promote that, and that's what it's not there was small and I will try to find those days. We could do from the department all of it was. And that's actually so in the top of this. Thank you. I thought it was a lot for you. The data help for sure. I'm going to change the usual and all this. And all this. So high behavior people are with that real factors. All the time on progress in the usual and travel and the user and soft centers. It has improved for your programming learning. Last week, I did a lot of just learning about the cities. I put it organized with the communication team by training course on more. I am really to be able to all about how to manage organization. So I will not make that very communication and short to for. Here's the force. Keep up the force. Then all kinds and my name is actually not getting the contract. I really really want to ask and trust. You know, because I'm going on the cruise. I share this motion. It's not going to be under trouble. If you start being with project, she will have you from sorry for the team. It's stress. I pulled everywhere my soldier. I pulled everywhere my soldier. I pulled. I think it's between the full back, and the goal is basically. How is it about the first person each year? Being self